So now we're going to move on to the walls. We've prepped our walls and we've got our battens on here. Now, what I will say, at this stage, there are two different ways you can do your walls. We always do this method where we batten the walls. We don't use a batten because you'll see there's a curve in the wall. And if you use thick batten, that's just going to go straight and you're going to get quite a lot of wasted space. Just like on the ceiling with the roof beams, we've cut some 12mm ply to about 80mm strips, and they're fixed from the bottom on the cross piece here and here, and also into the top. So we've got plenty going over. What's also important is if you're having wall cabinets, you want some horizontal slats that are solid and fixed, so that when you come to fixing those in, you can fix into something solid, but obviously it'll be worth making a note of what height they are from the ceiling. Now, don't measure from the inner corner here down, because the roof actually curves up, so you need to come out roughly where your wall cabinet's going to come to, then you're going to measure down so that it is going to hit into your part truss. Now, another thing to take into consideration when you're doing your framing, our first board is going to start around here. So we overlap it and we do come onto this C-pillar a little bit. So we measure from here, and a board is 1220. So we've got a slat here where the center of this slat is at 1220. So we're going to be using one of these slats. It's kind of like it's a doubler, okay? So it's going to be where one board ends, but it's then where your next board's going to start. And then you're going to want one or two in the middle, depending on what you've got there. So we've got this side is completed. We have also done the offside as well, apart from the very end one here, but that's because we need to do the B-pillar trim first. We've created our pocket, so we've got, again, there's a wall cabinet going here, so we've got a nice solid part truss, and this has come down because if you look on this side, you can see it comes up and then it kicks out. So what we always do on this side is we've got a mitered piece of 15mm ply, because that's the thickness of that step out, and it's mitered, and that, instead of having what we call a dog-legged like profile on it, that is now perfectly square. So it just comes out and it goes up, and that's it. We've then made sure that our internal width from this batten over to here is also suitable for your bed width. Now, this is a small double, so this is a 1200 width bed, so we do add 5mm, so we give ourselves 1205 just to give us a little bit of leeway on it. And then from there over to here, we're going to be doing a shower, and then we've got a bench seat area here. Right, so we're now ready to cut our first board to go in. Now we're starting here, so as I said earlier, I know the first board we've set up to overlap the C-pillar here, and that's going to come to center of this board. So we need to take a couple of measurements, because the first thing we're going to do is cut the height. So if I measure the right hand side, I've got 1865, and then if I measure the left hand side, I've got 1880. So for now, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to cut the board to the longest measurement, which is my 1880. But when you are measuring floor to ceiling height, what's important is you don't measure from floor to ceiling like that, because you can see I've got a gap between the tape and the batten. Your tape does need to follow the curvature of your batten, and that's going to give you a far more accurate reading. We've already got our board cut to 1880. Now we know our 1220 falls center of this batten here, and if I follow that down, we've got a wheel arch. So we're going to need to cut that out. At this point, it's going to be worth, if you've got any scrap wood or cardboard especially, is to make yourself a template of your wheel arch, because that's going to give you the opportunity to get that right now, and you can transfer that onto your plyboard later. Plus, you've got another one this side as well that you're also going to be using that for. So make yourselves a template. Doesn't matter how many goes it takes you. As I've showed you in previous videos with scribing, just do it bit at a time and get in closer and closer and closer until you're happy. Right, the next thing we're going to want to do is to get a nice big square. So we're going to place this square on the floor up against the edge of the wheel arch, and then I'm going to measure from the center of my batten, which is where this board's going to end, up to my square here, because that's going to give me the measurement of where that curvature of this wheel arch is going to fall. So if I quickly measure that, right, so that's 275. So this is the bottom of our ply, so I'm just going to put a mark on here at 275, and the next thing we need to know is what the height is. Okay, and that's 405 ish. And again, I'm going to transfer that 405 onto this board. So I know roughly where my cut is going to be. Now we're going to use the jig that we've just made and place that on here. That will give us our cutout. Right, so we've got our template. Now we actually made this template before we dropped the floor by 25 mil. So you can see here, I've raised it by that amount. And then all I'm going to do is mark in that section. And this now gives us the area that we need to cut out, so that can then finally be offered in, and we have got a couple more scribes to do. So let's cut this out and then we'll take it inside. Right, okay, so if you remember earlier, the ceiling was higher than it was over here by a little bit. So I'm able to get this side in a lot closer. But we've also got a couple of these sections that are also behind it. So the first thing we need to do now is just try and gauge where it starts to raise, or if it's an equal raise, and we're gonna scribe the top. Then we can cut out the notches for these roof beams. Right, see, so over there, so yeah, I can see on this section, we're hitting the roof beam supports coming down, so we need to trim the right side now to get that to where we need it. So I'm just going to place the board to the side a second, and we're just going to get a couple more measurements to gauge where it starts to lift. So I'm going to take a center measurement. I can see that's still 1880, so it's probably after this roof raft here where it starts. Yes, it is. So from the halfway mark of this board over, we need to lose that 15 mil. So we'll measure halfway across the board, bring that down to the 1865, which is here, and we can just trim that off. Right, yes. So that trim, we can see we're nice and flush with the ceiling all the way across, and we know at this stage it's the roof beams that are actually stopping this going in. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to belly it out in the middle now, which will allow me to drop the top, and I can mark where the roof beams are. Now what I can also do now to double check that is we know that this board is halfway across this beam here. So what I can do to double check now, so to the first one should be 84 mil. So if I come over here and measure, I've got 84 mil. So I've got that bang on. Second one should be 155. That's good. The next one should be 565 and 640. That's not 565, it's 570. Right, so it needs to come left just a smidge. And the outer one, 645. Should be there. And then I'm also going to check I've got equal cuts on both. So that one is 70 mil and that one is also 70 mil. Right, so I've got my markings there for where the roof beams are. Now, the other thing we need to take into consideration is because these roof beams are mitered into the wall, only part of this is actually going to be protruding past the wall. So for us to gauge what that is, we're going to put a straight edge on until we hit that beam, which I've hit it there. And then I'm going to take a measurement from the ceiling to the top of my level, and it's 35 mil. So we're only actually going to be cutting these down by 35 mil on the markings we've just done. So let's get that done. So on my markings, I'm going to use a square just to mark these off. And then we're going to measure down our 35 mil. And then we'll use a straight edge across the two to make sure they're spot on. We now have our cutouts. Now the last thing to note was on these roof rafters is that they're not perfectly square. On these front corners, they are curved. So rather than cut those cutouts square, we're actually going to put some small radiuses in. Looks a bit cleaner, but it'll also follow the profile a lot better. So I'm just going to use the smallest hole saw we have, and I'm going to line it up to the outer and the top edge of my cut. And then we're just going to trim that out like so. Do that on the other three corners, and then we can jig out the rest. Right, so we've just scribed out the 2 pieces for the roof beams, but we have a couple more holes still left to do in this. So on this particular sheet we can see we've got a bed USB cable coming through. I've got an underwall light cable coming through. We've got all the kitchen electrics coming through, which is a combination of 230, water pump, lights and a display. But then we've also got these cables coming through. Now, whilst I was just scribing that, I've moved them out of the way, but I know these are coming down and out in this sort of area. So what I can do is from the halfway point is come across, and we're going to do that at 345 mil, and off the floor we'll do it at 150. So we'll mark our 345. We know our 150 is about here. Right, so we know all our cables are coming through in that area here. Now, to gauge what size hole I need for those, I've fabric strapped up the ones that are going to stay inside the wall. I'm just going to put my finger across it and gauge it like that, so I can see that's going to be about 35 mil. So I'm going to go a little bit bigger because I need to make sure that any bulky ends also fit through, and then we can just trim this out. I'm going to take my measurements for my bed USB and underwall light, and we're going to transfer that onto the board. And the last thing we need to cut out for are going to be our electrics that are going to be above the worktop in the kitchen. So we know we've got a couple of switches and sockets which we use CBE fascias for, and then I've also got the Truma control panel as well. Now, we set all ours at a standard height of 1100 mil. So the first thing I'm going to do, these are for our CBEs. I'm just going to mark 1100 mil, and then I need to go see exactly what's going in there. That is going to be for the Truma controller, so that's a separate entity, so we'll leave that a second. I can see I've got a CBE freshwater tank level, so that's one CBE. I've got a water leveler, I've got a 230 socket, I've got a water pump switch here, so I've got my pump, and then I've got an awning light, a ceiling light and an underwall light. So then I've got 3 light switches. On the water pump CBE, that gets a light switch, so one of them can come onto there and that leaves 2. I can put 2 on a single, so I need 1, 2, 3 and 4. Now the 230 is going to actually be 2 sockets, so I got 2, and then I've got another 3 that I need. So I'm going to do a bank of 3 and a bank of 2. I've now got my 3-bay CBE back and my 2-bay. So as I mentioned earlier, these are going to fall bang center onto these lines like so, but I also now need to know where they're going to go exactly on that line. I'm going to measure from where my board ends. I can see I've got a nice big spot here where they can go, so I've got plenty of space. So I'm going to be aiming for them to be between 260 and 660. So I'm just going to mark those on there, and I know that is roughly there where I'm going to need them. Now when I'm lining these up, I'm going to use the screw holes on either end because they are bang center of the fascia, and then I'm just going to mark the inner cutouts of this back plate. Place the next one on and make sure you leave enough space between the two, because these do have a secondary fascia that goes on. These are just the back plates, and again I'm going to mark where they go. So I've now got all my kitchen electrics are marked up, ready for us to cut the holes. Now the only thing to note is if you are using this system and you've got 230 sockets, so 230 sockets, you have a back box that also goes on them, so you need to do a bigger back box for your 230 sockets than you would for all the other type of CBE fascias. And then the last thing that is also going into this board is the Truma touchscreen control panel, which we have here. So I can use the back to work out what my cutouts are. That's going to be 110 mil by 85. So I'm just going to make a quick note of that. Now I want that panel to fall nice and center across our bank of 5 here. So I'm just going to get a measurement from the end of this one to that one there. So we've got 304, so that's 17. So that should be there. And then my center is 420. So I'm just going to then draw my center line up here. And then the last thing I'll do is I'll just double check I've got the measurements on that correct. So that needs to be 110, which it is, by 85, which we are. So I'm now going to cut all these out. Once you've got all your holes cut out for your board, then you can bring it in, offer it up, make sure everything's sweet, and providing everything's good, we'll then start feeding the correct cables through for all the different holes. We can then fix that. Now, another note that is worth doing at the moment is just putting a bit of masking tape on the ceiling and just marking where all your battens are, and do the same on the floor, because once that board is in and you know it's good, then you need to be able to screw that in. Okay, so when you go now to cut your holes for your CBE fascias, obviously if you are fitting this style, this is the back box I was just telling you about for the 230. So we need to find the closest hole saw for this, which is this one. And then for our other switches and units, we need to find something that is going to be big enough that allows this center section to pass through, but we don't want it to come past these screw holes on the corner. And I can see that does it perfectly. So I've now got my 2 different sizes that I need, and we can cut those out. Now, just before cutting these out, I need to do one more measurement, and that is find the center of each of these. So I'm just going to use a steel rule, and I can see that they are 42 mil wide each, so I'm going to mark the center, which is 21 mil on each one. So that's all our holes cut out. We can now take this inside and see how we go. Now we need to feed all our cables through, so everything here is looking good. The only thing we do need to do now is scribe around this knuckle that's on the sliding door, because we are coming onto the C-pillar a little bit. So we've now scribed out this section, and this is to come around here. We do sort this out later on. We put a fillet in there, so I'm not worried about that right now. We just need to get this on, and hopefully this should be the final fit. And that is one board in. So I know where my battens are. I can now fix this into place, and then use all the same methods that I've just used to fit this one to now do this one. So again, we want to get your height, but we're also on this one, we need to worry about the width, because you can see this section here isn't as wide as that section here, which is a full board. So we're going to also be taking a width measurement, top and bottom, cut it, and then we got a bit of a scribe in this top corner to do, very similar to what we've just done in this corner. And we're going to be repeating the whole process on the other wall, all the way down to the B-pillar. The only difference on this one is we have got an internal reveal to do here. Everything else is done. So I hope you've enjoyed this video and it helps you guys with your walls and ceilings. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below and I'll get back to you.